Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom with Kate Olson. As an evolving spirit and change adventure navigator, it is Kate's mission to empower and guide you on your path and inspire your truest passions. She will encourage you to share your gifts, speak your truth, and ignite your inner wisdom and purpose. She hopes to do so with a little humor and grace and her own soulfire passion. Kate talks with amazing guests who have embraced the pursuit and are fanning the flames of their own passion, purpose, and soulfire wisdom. Now here's your host, Kate.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom and this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. It's actually sunny here in Seattle, and I hear that it's possibly going to be getting up to 80 later this week. So unusual early weather for Seattle. So today is Cinco de Mayo, Taco Tuesday, and totally awesome. Try something new and talk about it Tuesday. So what I tried this week is I tried doing every day a little Reiki meditation, that wellness meditation that I actually made up for myself, but I hadn't been doing it for a while, and I decided I needed a little wellness rev up. So it's just like a little 3-minute wellness Reiki meditation, and it's based on flow. It's to get all of your systems flowing the way that they're supposed to be. And our bodies actually have more, we actually have more control over this in our bodies than we sometimes realize. So I'm not going to go through the whole 3 minutes of the wellness meditation on the air, but if anyone would like that meditation, just email soulfirewisdom@gmail.com, and I'll send you that either in written form or in an actual audio. So we have a great show planned for today, and my guest is Jim Kellner, and Jim is a hypnotist doing both stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy. He's a comedian, speaker, and an author. And he overcame severe stage fright, introversion, and being painfully shy to become recognized as a dynamic and charismatic entertainer and speaker. He's been recognized as an expert in his field by Grand Canyon University's 2018 TEDx event, Magnum Opus. His TEDx talk, "If You Can't Be Hypnotized, You Lose," has received acclaim from both fellow hypnotists and laypersons. Jim is the author of plays, comedy routines, articles, and a book, Navigating Success. He also creates custom talks and trainings. Jim studied acting in college and then transitioned to stand-up comedy, touring the Pacific Northwest as a featured act. After using hypnosis to take off over 60 pounds, ease his depression, and remake his life, he decided to become a professional hypnotherapist and comedy stage hypnotist. He now helps people lose weight, quit smoking, sleep better, relax deeply, and more. And he currently travels the U.S., routinely headlining at some of the top comedy clubs. So I'd like to introduce Jim now. Hi, Jim.
Hello, Kate. How are you today?
I'm great. it's good that you can be here, and I love that background you had. Too bad that nobody's going to see it because my webcam went out, so we're only going to have audio this time. But that was
It is.
really nice beach.
It's a bummer because I just got a new Mac, and so now I can actually have the video background. So I've got the green screen up in the video background, so it's really cool. But oh well.
Yeah, it was. So just to check in, how are you coping through this coronavirus and quarantine?
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny. I guess I should update my bio. I'm not currently traveling the United States doing shows.
Well, no. I think everybody got that wasn't normally.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Fortunately for me, I have a lot of colleagues that are just speakers or just comedy hypnotists, and they're really suffering right now. I mean, really having a tough time. And some of them may end up having to go back to teaching jobs and all kinds of other stuff. Fortunately, I've always maintained my hypnotherapy practice online as well. So, and the hypnotherapy sort of pays the bills, and so I'm getting by.
Great. So, other than your colleagues, do you have any advice for the listeners about how to cope during this crazy time?
I think it's I'm glad you asked that. It's challenging, I think, for most people. And I try to maintain a positive attitude. And you're a hypnotist, and I'm an expert in mental technologies as well. So we are fortunate because we have sort of an upper hand. We know how to manipulate our minds in a way that kind of can keep us from going down that deep dark hole. Hopefully, right? You too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that our mind still doesn't try to go there, but
Exactly. And there have been, especially when I got it was the governor's order back in March came down 3 days before a pretty big event was scheduled for me over at Ocean Shores, and it's one that I've done the past couple of years. And it was a big hit financially, and it was just, like 3 days notice, and it was canceled. So and there've been some times throughout this whole thing where I've gone through some quandaries. Maybe I should get a real job, or different things. But mostly I pick myself back up. I turn back to my hypnosis, my NLP techniques. And I'm really trying to use this time to just work on all those projects that I never had time for when I was, traveling to Phoenix and New York and all over the place.
yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that. So yeah, that's a benefit of having a little extra time.
It really is. And I'll tell you, it's funny because there's a lot of us out there, us, hypnotists, coaches, speakers, it's kind of pushing people, this is a great time to work on yourself and that kind of a thing. And then I saw this meme go around a few times. It basically said, this is a great time to go write that book and do this and that. And then it was crossed out. And then it said, hey, if you just need to chill out, then do that. If you need to do that, fine. This has been going on for quite a while now. So if you're still in a funk, you need to get some help. Seriously, people, because I got to tell you, and let me just tell you a little bit of a story. I get this. I get where you want to. It's kind of nice at first to just kind of lay around and watch TV and eat what you want and all this stuff. But I remember about 10 years ago, back when I was teaching massage therapy, the school I was working at ended up closing, and I was laid off, and so I got unemployment for I don't know, 6 or 8 months or something. And I remember at the time thinking, oh, this is fantastic. I've been really needing a breather. I've been needing a break, so this is great. And it was during the economic downturn, and there weren't really any jobs anyway. So I was like, this would be great. I'm going to be able to catch up on everything. I said, I'm just going to take like a week. I'm going to do whatever I want. And so I did, for a week. I just laid around, I watched TV, and I ate what I wanted. And then pretty soon it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And by the time that we'd gotten through the 6 or 8 months and I went back to work, I didn't get nothing done. I got nothing done that I wanted to get done. And I just think that if you're out there and you're kind of in that place where, I just need to, chill and relax and everything, that's great if you really need it. But I'm afraid, 6 months from now, you're going to look back and go, man, I really wish I'd have taken that time.
Yeah. I think the longer you do that, the harder it is to restart. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think, yeah. So can you tell us a little more about your background and what brought you to your current path? I know we gave a little bit on that in the intro, but tell us a little more.
Yeah. Well, I was a weird kid, and I was always interested in weird stuff. And so I was I remember like in junior high, I was checking out books on just crazy stuff, Tibetan meditation and voodoo even, and just hypnosis, and it was all the kind of weird stuff that was out there. And because I sort of viewed it as that kind of esoteric thing that people sort of view it as. I didn't even realize it was based in science at the time. And I was reading this, and then I ended up taking some self-hypnosis classes, and I wasn't really sure if it was legit or not because I sort of just dabbled in it. I'd do a session, I'd get a session from a hypnotist here and there, and I'd have, mild success. And then about I'd say, after about 10 years ago, um, I started actually really, I just decided I got to do something because I ballooned up to about 270 pounds, and I was depressed. It was right at the end of that whole period of where I'd just been laid off for 6 or 8 months, and I hadn't done jack.
Mhm.
And I felt like I just decided to start really just trying to make a change. And I tried so many times. And it's funny because I know a lot of people out there, you get to the point. I remember thinking, I don't even believe myself anymore. Cause I'd get up in the morning sometime at 6 a.m. and go for a jog. And I remember one time, Kate, I said to myself, I was like, yes, I'm going to get up 3 or 4 times a week. And at 6 a.m. and I'm going to go for a run. And then I immediately stopped myself and said, BS, you're a liar. You're not going to do that. um, because I'd lied to myself so many times, and I didn't even believe myself anymore. But I started using hypnosis, and then I discovered NLP, and I mean, really, within just a few months, I dropped 50 pounds, and was feeling better. And I set a goal. I said, you know what, I'm going to start doing this for real because I see now the power of it. Once you start using it regularly and don't just kind of dabble in it, it really makes a huge difference. And I wrote on a goal list. I said, within 6 months, I'm a hypnotherapist, seeing clients, and literally within 4 months, I was working with clients.
Yeah, wow. You were into it a lot longer than I was. I didn't even consider being a hypnotist. I'd heard of it, of course, but it
Uh-huh.
wasn't something I decided to be until I went to my life coach training.
Mm-hmm.
And I only went to that because I thought I need some kind of a certification.
Mm.
I've taken psychology in college, so I had that background. But
Yeah.
then the certification that I went to, they taught hypnosis and NLP. And so I said, well, okay, I'll learn this, but I don't know if I'll ever use it. And it
Yeah.
turned out like, what would I be doing if I wasn't?
That's awesome. How long ago was that?
That was just 2015.
Oh, wow. Wow. What were you doing before that?
Well, as I said, I went to college. I majored in psychology and I was going to be a counselor, but then, life happened and I went in a
Mm-hmm.
totally different direction.
Mm.
And after I got divorced, I decided I needed to do something that made money.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody told me I couldn't be a salesperson because I didn't have the right personality.
Ah.
And so I became a salesperson.
Nice.
And yeah, I had a long career in sales, but it was never, you know, like I love this.
Yeah.
So I was always drawn back to the, you know, helping people.
Yeah.
So I decided to do the life coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's how it happened.
Cool. Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
You know, I love that, you know, and there are, you know, we tend to think of salespeople as that one type of person. And we all know one of those type of people. You know, I have a friend who's, I mean, he could
Yeah.
sell, he's the guy that can sell he could sell the ice cubes to the Inuits, you know,
Yes.
but, yeah, but you don't have to necessarily be that kind of a
No,
salesperson to be a salesperson.
that isn't a good salesperson. After I did sales for a long time, I became a sales trainer, and then
Yeah.
I became an independent sales and marketing consultant. And
Uh-huh.
my whole goal was to teach people how to sell,
Mm-hmm.
not how to be the sales stereotype.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, what that one person said changed my whole life.
Like, forget you. I am going to be a salesperson.
Yeah, exactly. So you do both stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy. Which do you prefer?
You know, this is a tough one because I was, you know, I was always very interested in all the weird stuff, you know, and also in personal development. You know, I was listening to Earl Nightingale tapes back when I was like, you know, 17, 18 years old. And if you don't know who Earl Nightingale is out there, go check out some of his stuff. I mean, it's the stuff like Tony Robbins and everything, like way before Tony Robbins. But you know, it's a lot of positive, you know, messages and stuff. Unfortunately, it took me a long time for the stuff to sink in, but
Yeah.
finally, when it did, it really made an impact. But you know, I've always been into that, and then you know, I started doing stand-up comedy for a little while, and I was always kind of torn because I wanted to help people, but I also want to make people laugh.
Mm.
And I love performing. And coming from you know, I was extremely shy when I was a kid. I'm still an introvert, and being able to perform on stage is really a great outlet. And you know, it's funny too because I've had along the way, I've had people tell me, you know, I work with coaches, and they're like, you got to focus on one thing. You can't do both. You got to, and I get that because, you know, it is tough because the marketing, you got to do, you know, twice the marketing. And I get people that'll say things like, well, how can you be funny and still help people? You know, which is, I get sort of, but it's kind of also a silly thing to ask too. Like, you know, um, I remember when I was working at the clinic, my coworkers would always say to me, "We always hear you and your clients laughing in there. What are you guys laughing about?" Like, I don't know. I mean,
That's actually one of the better ways to, you know, get somebody ready for a hypnosis session, is to get them, you know, relaxed by laughing or you know, at least smiling.
yeah, because you know, people come to us. I mean, usually, you know, here's the thing. I'm not selling Mercedes. People go and buy a Mercedes because they really want a Mercedes. They've been thinking about that Mercedes. They've been dreaming about it, you know. I'm selling something that people don't necessarily want. They don't they don't want to have to see me. They don't want to have to put out their hard-earned money to, you know, get help to stop smoking, for instance, you know, or to lose weight. I've had so many people will tell me, "Well, I want to do this, but I really want to be able to do it on my own." You know, it's a different thing. And
they really want, Jim, is they want to lose weight, but they don't want to do the things that they need to do to lose weight.
Exactly. Well, and I'm sure you run into this too, because I will have clients that and now I actually explain to them ahead of time. I'm like, so I just so you know, hypnosis isn't this magic wand where I'm gonna, put you in hypnosis and the weight's gonna magically fall off. What we do in hypnosis is we help you to do those things that you need to do to take the weight off. So if that means exercising or eating the right foods, then that's what's gonna happen. Right now, it could also be releasing emotional trauma, or whatever else, but usually people are heavier than they want to be for a reason, and it's usually because they're either consuming too much or too much of the wrong foods, maybe not moving enough. And so yeah, and it's that's the other thing too. And Keith Livingston.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he had commented something on a Facebook post that I had a while back, and he said, he goes, I honestly think that people just don't realize that they really can change, and that just it resonated with me so much. And I was going to do a video about it, but I haven't done it yet. But because I'll tell you, and I
Keith,
what's that?
Keith is a little bit of a pessimist sometimes.
He is. He definitely is. Oh yes, he can be very cynical. But it really hit people don't it's like me when I would get up, every couple of years I'd get up at 6 a.m. one time and tell myself, okay, now I've changed my life. I'm going to start doing this. I was lying to myself repeatedly, and I stopped believing in myself because I just didn't think I could. And I tell this story a lot. I can still distinctly remember one time. It was during that period when I'd gotten really bad, where I was just eating whatever I wanted, just laying around watching TV, and I was eating some ice cream, and I thought to myself, Kate, I said, I can never lose weight because I can't imagine never eating ice cream again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there's a couple problems there, as you know.
Yes.
You don't have to never have ice cream again,
Yes.
right?
That and yeah, you're in a certain state of mind and you're seeing things from an either or perspective, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah, when there's a lot of gray area. And what I would tell clients is, no one gets significantly overweight by having ice cream every once in a while, or
know,
having birthday cake on their loved one's birthday. It's those things that we do every day that have the huge impact on us. And so what I finally realized was that, I could have ice cream sometimes. And also the other part of this is I got to a point where I don't even miss ice cream. So it's not a big deal to me. I literally every once in a while, in fact, the other day I went and got some keto ice cream, and it was okay, but it wasn't great. And it just, for some reason I just wanted some, but really it's really weird because I don't have that calling for it. I just don't have that need. And every once in a while I will, like a special occasion or something, or I'm out with friends, I might have some, but it's not that I don't have to have it every single day, and it's not a struggle.
yeah. And when you're in that state of mind where, as you said, you don't believe in yourself and you're kind of overwhelmed, you feel like you're out of control, you're depressed,
Yeah.
the way you're thinking is just unrealistic. Like, I've been there too. And I remember I rented a room in a house owned by a chiropractor who was, she was always trying to make me more healthy. At the time, I wasn't too healthy. And I drank a lot of Diet Pepsi. And now I don't. Every once in a while, I have a little tiny bit. But at that time, I could not imagine giving up Diet Pepsi.
Right.
I remember she said to me, my life was not good at that time at all. And I felt like you described, out of control. I couldn't do anything, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember her telling me, how healthy it is, and that she would do things to try to make me give it up, which was a big mistake. But
right.
anyway, I remember telling her that I couldn't give up Diet Pepsi because it was all that I had.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking of Diet Pepsi as being like, something important in my life.
And that's another great point you just brought up, Kate, is for a lot of my clients, and I'm sure yours too, our clients, and we hear this sometimes they're not even aware of it, but it's like, if I give this up, what'll I have? This is my friend, this is my love, this is my entertainment. And
Yes,
and I remember one time, and that's a great thing about working with clients is I'm reminded when they tell me things, and I'm like, oh my God, I used to be the same way. I had a
yes,
client.
exactly.
Yeah, you get that too. Yeah, I remember I had a
Yeah,
client that said, he said, he goes, we've gone through a few sessions. He was doing good, and that's what happens. A lot of times is they'll go through a few sessions, everything's going great, and then they start kind of backsliding because there's some resistance there. And his resistance was, he goes, I got nothing else. This is what I've lived my whole life for, is
yes.
food.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Exactly.
said,
Yes. I
yeah.
have I have a friend that I've known for like 30 years, and he's, way overweight
Mhm,
and has diabetes and severe lymphedema, and
mhm.
he will not give up, the food, the junk food, because
Yeah.
he says that life is not worth living if he
Mm,
doesn't have that.
yeah.
And that is a mindset that, he's stuck there. So it's unfortunate if when people get stuck there. And he totally does not believe in hypnosis. So unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't believe in gravity either, but I still fall
Yeah.
down. So
Well, did you learn to incorporate humor into your stage hypnosis, or did that kind of come naturally to you?
so the thing is, I think I was always funny. There was, I remember my uncle being funny, and people around me were funny. I don't think I was actually very funny very often when I was younger because I was too shy. I
Mhm.
would I would think of things. I would think, oh, this will be funny, but I wouldn't say it oftentimes. Um, but I always wanted to. And I finally started taking acting classes when I was about 27, and I started breaking through because I said I'm not going to be shy anymore. I'm going to do whatever I have to. I took singing classes. I took acting classes. I took improv classes. I said I'm going to break through this somehow, and it was terrifying. And I wish I would have had hypnosis then to help me, ease the pain a little bit. And then I started doing stand-up comedy, and it was kind of funny the way it worked because I'd started doing some stand-up comedy. I was a feature act. I traveled around doing some shows, and a friend of mine who owned a comedy club at the time, I started doing the hypnosis, and he said, hey, do you want to do a stage hypnosis show, comedy hypnosis show? And I said, sure. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I was pretty broke still. I was like, I couldn't afford to take the training. And I just watched a bunch of videos, read some books, and I put together a show, and I just started doing it. And the funny thing is, it's again, like what we know is whatever you focus on, you get more of. When I started focusing more on being funny, it just happened. So the humor gets incorporated into the stage show.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, your choice on that is, I had the same thing as you, being terrified to be on stage. And
Hmm.
I actually started speaking
Mm.
to get over that. But I can't imagine, you know, choosing to do something that like you're doing. I mean, that wouldn't be wouldn't wouldn't be my choice. So
Yeah.
yeah, it puzzles me a little bit.
I was so desperate to break free of it. I knew I wanted to be on stage, and I think I'll tell you honestly, I think that really for me it was I wanted that love from people. I wanted that acclaim, and that's how I wanted to get it. I was being on stage.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting because I went to this big training, NLP training in Florida, and the main thing about it is you're on stage a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trainer training. It's called charisma enhancement.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, one of the things that they try to make you, responsive to is the applause.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed about myself is I don't even hear that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
I don't. So yeah, I don't know why really. It's just like,
Hmm.
people would say to me afterwards, well, did you hear that applause? And
Mm-hmm.
applause? No. This is strange.
That's funny.
But so I'm getting the impression, and you just said basically that you like any opportunity to get up in front of an audience. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so how did that help you with your stage fright? As I said, the choice surprises me from experience, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny too because I both would and would not recommend it the way that I did it because it's I mean it really is that if the what I try to tell people is you cannot get over a fear by avoiding that fear,
that's true.
right? So I have I'll just tell you I'm afraid of sharks. And I know people will say, well, why don't you just use hypnosis to get over it? I know I could get over it. I really do. I could use I could use the rapid, phobia cure and get over it. I'm sure. I'm certain of it. I don't want to.
Yeah,
So
because
that's
sharks can hurt you.
yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's not. It's I don't care. I don't want to go scuba diving. I don't want to go surfing. So I'm fine. But if there was something I really wanted to do, um, it's like people like and in fact it's great because people will say this is the people they say this to me all the time. They'll say, oh, I would love to get up and speak, but I'm so afraid. I'm like, yeah, who isn't? Right. I mean, right, nearly everyone. I mean, there are a few people that'll just jump up on stage from birth or whatever, but for most of us, we were afraid the first 100 times we were on stage, right? I'm still afraid sometimes, you
Yes.
know
It's still scary to me to be up in front of a live audience. I have gotten, used to a little more the, you know, podcasts and videos,
Hmm.
but I have a feeling that the live audience would still bring back that feeling.
Hmm.
But that is the same reason as you why I did it, because I know that the longer you hang on to that fear, the bigger it gets.
It is. I mean, it's frankly, people, I know it sucks. I mean, it really does. I wish there was another way, but so, people, especially, gosh, I feel so bad, and I'm also so frustrated with people with anxiety about stuff. It's because, they're just, oh, I'm not going to do that because I feel anxious. I'm like, well, no kidding. I feel anxious too. I still feel anxious when I walk into a networking meeting, a meetup or something. I still feel anxious,
Yes.
but I do it anyway. It's there's that book that's got that great title, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So if you want to get something in life, you're going to have to overcome that fear. So whether that's asking out the pretty girl or the handsome guy or jumping up on stage or, whatever, you just have to do it. But there's, you don't have to do it like I did and maybe Kate did, is where we just jumped right into the fire. You can use techniques, you can use, visualization. We help you with in hypnosis, we actually help you with that, but you can do it on your own too. You visualize the experience and maybe you do some I'm having some trouble remembering the exact term for it, but it's when you kind of dip your toe in, the exposure therapy, you
Yes.
know, th- things
Yes.
like that can help, to get past that. But it really is, it's so worth it. I look back now and I can still remember there was one monologue in particular. It was my first monologue for this class when I had moved up to Seattle from California. And I tell you, Kate, I was terrified. I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt I was like 27 at the time, and everybody else in my class were, it was at the, junior college. They were all like, 18, 19 years old. And plus they'd been doing this stuff their whole life. They were all talking about all this drama stuff that I had no idea what they're talking about. My first, foray into it. And I can still remember the monologue, that I did. And as I go back, I'm like, yeah, it was hell. It was so worth it. It was so worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it almost always is, to accomplish something that either scared you or that you felt was too hard to do. If you can do it, then it just feels so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that courage that you get in that area, it's not just limited to that. I mean, your courage, your self-esteem is going to grow in all areas of your life. So you're going to start feeling better about yourself in so many ways. And I wonder if maybe that's why there's a lot of times an emphasis for people that want to build self-esteem is getting up on stage, because it's so frightening to so many people that I think just being up there, just having the courage to get up there kind of builds that self-esteem or something. I don't know.
Yes. Part of my life coach training was we had to do karaoke.
Oh, now see, that one still scares me.
Yes. And in addition to not, wanting to get up in front of people, I can't sing. So that was a hard one, but the teacher told us, if you can do this, you can do anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yes, and it was true. I think that first step of, getting up and doing it, despite the fact that, I didn't sound good, gave me the courage to decide that I was going to push myself to do speaking, and then finally led to doing the podcast and then making it a video.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I think, all of those steps, as you said, give you more confidence. And I think that does, spill over into other areas too.
Yeah. Do you still karaoke?
No, not voluntarily. I have a time since then, but it's usually, being pushed by a group. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say, that you're not you say I'm not a very good singer, but really, if you think about it, most people are probably not very good singers.
Yeah, but
so,
it's the ones that do karaoke all the time usually are pretty good.
I think there definitely are some people that are very good. I think and like I said, it still scares me a little bit. This is one of those situations where, like, I'm just when I know they're getting close to my name, I'm like, oh no, maybe the lights will go out or something, or I'll have a heart attack and I won't be able to go on or something.
Well, for the song, for the life coaching, the song that I picked to do was All I Want to Do by what's her name? She's a country western singer, and I don't normally like country western. All I Want to Do is, can't even think of her name. But anyway, I more or less rapped it out instead of singing. But, So what is the objective or primary message that you try to convey through your speaking and your stage shows?
So it's evolved somewhat. So it's there's a couple different aspects. Number one is I want people to understand how powerful their mind is, and the stage hypnosis. And if you talk to many hypnotherapists, like I have a good friend, and he's got his doctorate in psychology and his PhD and stuff, and he's also a hypnotist, and he hates stage hypnotists because he says I have to explain to every one of my clients that I'm not going to make them cluck like a chicken or bark like a dog. And I get that, and I do too. Like I'll have clients say to me, they come in for smoking and they go, "You're going to make me cluck like a chicken?" I said, "Well, if I thought it would help you quit smoking, I definitely would make you cluck like a chicken." Um, but the thing that I think that the stage shows do is they really, if if people have an open mind and they actually realize that this is legit, people will say, "Oh, those are just you're just paying those people to act." And if they knew how much I used to make when I started doing this, they would know I couldn't afford to pay anyone to act like they were hypnotized. Um, and really you don't need to, because they're people that are just marvelous. So um, for those folks, I want them to see how powerful this technology is, this mental technology that we all have access to. And people think, "Oh, I can't be hypnotized." Everybody thinks they can't be hypnotized, and that's why I didn't name my TED talk, "If you can't be hypnotized, you lose," because that's for all those people that go, "Oh, I can't be hypnotized." Well, then you're the loser, because it's a great technology. Too bad for you. So it's twofold. So really, I want to show them the power of their mind, and then, like, my real focus is just sort of like I have a talk that I do, and I guess it kind of epitomizes all of my work. It's called "Why Not You?" Why a lot of people do amazing things in this world. Why not you? There's there's no reason, whether it's having amazing relationships, or it's getting your dream job, or writing a book, or whatever. Why not you?
Exactly. That's pretty much a motto here in Seattle, with that being Russell Wilson's, what, why not me?
Hmm.
His,
Yeah.
uh, so is it difficult separating the comedy hypnosis stage show side of your business from the hypnotherapy?
It is, and I still wrestle with that. When I first started doing it, I tried to keep them separate. I still have two separate Facebook pages. One, Jim Kellner Hypnotist, and then one, Jim Kellner Hypnotherapist. Um, it's something it's sort of constantly evolving. The problem is, it's supposed to is it's hard for me to turn it off. It's hard for me to turn off the funny, and so. But I think, unfortunately, people do have this idea that if you're funny, then you're silly, you're goofy, and maybe you're dumb, and you can't really help them with their problem.
Mm.
And so I think that if I wanted to be, if I really want to be more successful in, like, the serious speaking things and hypnotherapy stuff, then maybe I would need to be more serious. Um, but it's super tough. And I will say that my humor that I post on social media and stuff, it's evolved. I used to be much more risque,
Ah.
and I've toned that down. And it's funny, some of my longtime followers have noticed that I get messages. I've gotten a few messages from people that'll say, like, "Wow, you've kind of shifted over time." And I'm like, "Yeah, I have."
Yeah,
But
I don't think it's the funny part of things that when I talk to people about hypnosis and they have an impression of stage hypnosis, it's always that they're worried about, like mind control or something.
yeah, yeah,
And, I have to explain to them that there's really no way that I can make them do anything that, they don't want to do. And that what they're coming to me for is for me to help them do what they do want to do.
right.
So that's what I'm going to help them with. And it's really not mind control.
Well, it's funny, we have the two camps. We have the camp that says, that hypnosis is BS, and/or, I'm too strong-willed to be hypnotized. And then we have the other people that think it works too well, and they're going to be, become our slaves, basically.
Something.
And it's funny too. I remember there was a smoker. He was like, "Well, I'm too strong-willed." It was a smoker. He said, "I'm too strong-willed to be hypnotized." I said, "Really?" I said, "You're not strong-willed at all. If you were strong-willed, you'd put those cigarettes down, never pick them up again, wouldn't you?" Right? And so, he was like, "Oh, wow." Because that's what we do is we help people to do what they want to do. If we could really control you, it
Yeah,
would be illegal.
lawn needs a lot of work.
What's that?
You said, yeah, if we could control people. I said, my lawn needs a lot of work.
No kidding. I mean, it's sort of amazing that, you know, I've literally had people like avert my eyes. They'll put their, oh, you're a hypnotist. Oh, don't look at me and stuff. And it's like, look, if it really worked the way you think it does, and you know, oh, I saw this movie though. Oh, please don't even ask me about movies. Every movie, every TV show, or at least 90% of them are complete and utter nonsense. Just like everything else they show is, you know, I mean, there's, you know, spies, you know, spy movies aren't really like real spies, you know. There's, I mean, everything that's out there for entertainment is not the same. And it's, again, like if we really could control people the way some of them think we could, then the CIA would have us all working for them, right? I mean,
Exactly.
and you know, the unsavory among us would.
Well, also people are more hypnotized in their, you know, regular life than they realize. They're just, you know, not using it in the way that benefits them best.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. I was hypnotized to believe that I could not go a day without ice cream, which is ridiculous.
yes. So, have you ever done a show where things just fell flat and the audience just was not in sync with you?
Oh, Kate, please. I've got a list.
so how did you deal with that?
So it's my friend Bob Faith. He's a couple good ones like that. My friend Bob Faith, he's been doing this for about 50 years. He started doing hypnotherapy during the Vietnam War. And what he says is, you know, I call him up, Bob, oh, it was awful. He says, did you get paid? I go, yeah. Did you live? Yeah. All right, you'll be okay. And, you know, it's just, so, you know, sometimes I did a show out, I can't remember where it was now, somewhere out on the peninsula one time. And it was, you know, we first got there, the guy was like, oh, it was in some small town. He goes, oh, you know, we always get a lot of people out there to this thing. It was some kind of a fundraiser they do every year. Oh, we always fill this place up. It was just at this old, nice high school that had a great stage. And we're waiting and nobody's showing up. And it's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? We ended up having, there were about 9, 10 people in the audience at showtime. Apparently there was another event going on in town that night. And so nobody showed up. And this step up at, to the left of the stage, there was a table full of older folks that were sitting there with their arms crossed, looking angry. And the comics that went up before me did a whole bunch of jokes about Facebook and Twitter, which just made the people angrier because they didn't know what the heck they were talking about. And I ended up I ended up having like 2 legitimate volunteers come up. The other 2 were the comics, and they didn't get hypnotized because didn't. But anyway, nobody got hypnotized. And it turns out the monitors weren't turned on, so they didn't even hear what I was saying. But Kate, I was this one woman. I go up to her and I go, when you hear this music, you know, you'll jump up and you are Madonna. She opens her eyes, looks up at me and goes, you better choose somebody else. It was awful.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good night.
It was awful. Yeah. But there's been a few, you know, at this point, you know, I can usually make it work, but in the beginning it was really tough sometimes. You know, if you have an audience that, you know, either you don't have much of an audience, or there's so many things that go into comedy if they're not sitting close together, you know, if it happens during the daytime instead of nighttime, and there's just so many different things.
Yeah. But you learned that, you know, it isn't the end of the world, and you can get up the next time and do it okay.
Absolutely. You cash the check and you go on, you live your life.
So you have, your catchphrase is, damn, I'm pretty.
Oh, yeah.
What's that about?
it started off as just something silly. I don't remember when I first started saying it, but I started saying it on stage and on Facebook. And at the time I was a 270-pound middle-aged bald guy. And now I'm a 200-pound middle-aged bald guy. But 270-pound middle-aged bald guy says, "Damn, I'm pretty." People laugh. And so it kind of stuck. And then I found out as I kept saying it, I started believing it. And it was the weirdest thing. And I started sort of telling clients, I said, you know what, these affirmations, you think affirmations don't work, but we end up saying affirmations, a few times and we give up. But we got to say them over and over and over again. We're planting seeds. It takes a while for that seed to really take hold, to grow into a tree. And I've actually had people, followers on Facebook, people I don't even know and stuff. They'll send me a message every once in a while. You know what? I tried that. I started saying, "Damn, I'm pretty," and you know what? I started feeling like I've got better self-esteem, feeling better about myself.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't realize how powerful the things that they tell themselves are. I mean, and they're usually negative.
Oh yeah.
If they work when they're negative, why wouldn't they work when they're positive?
Well, the funny thing is people will think maybe affirmations, that's whatever. But would you, as you say, the negative, would you say that it would be okay then to sit a 2-year-old down and tell them they're stupid, they're ugly, they're dumb, and all that stuff over and over and over again? Of course not. It would have an impact, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like it has an impact, just like it has an impact on us. Louise Hay said it great too, because I've had people tell me, I remember, it was so touching. This one woman, I said, I put up some kind of a post. Hey, I know a lot of people don't feel good about themselves, but just try this. Just say, "Damn, I'm pretty." Just go out throughout the day today saying, "Damn, I'm pretty." And as you know, when you use humor, it also helps to lock in the information. And so just that phrase is funny, so that helps. And this one girl, she posted underneath it. She goes, "I can't lie to myself like that."
Yes, I have so many clients say that when I have them do affirmations. They really have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
But it's so powerful once they can do it.
Well, I used to just tell them, hey, it's fine to lie to yourself right now. That's okay. You can lie. You've been lying to yourself. You've told yourself you're stupid and you're dumb and all these things, and you're not really stupid and dumb. So go ahead and lie to yourself. And then I was listening to something with Louise Hay, and she said, as far as affirmations goes, she goes, if you plant a tomato seed, is it not a tomato? She goes, it's not a tomato. It's not a tomato, but saying it's a tomato isn't really a lie. It's a tomato in its infancy, right? So that's what we're doing. When we do affirmations, we're planting a seed with the expectation that as we nourish that seed, it's going to grow, it's going to flourish and become what we've nourished.
Yes. And we do it with our, as you said, with our children and our pets and even like plants. I mean, we'll talk to them, we say nice things. We don't say, negative things, and it works.
It really does. Yeah, it really does.
So we're almost out of time. In fact, we're a little over time.
No.
So could you, if you could leave the listeners with one takeaway from today's show, what would you want that to be?
Why not you? Really? Why not you? And doesn't mean you have to go write a book or go become a professional speaker, a stage hypnotist, hypnotherapist, or anything like that. But if I know you're a lot of people are thinking, I'm not good enough. If you talk to and here's the thing, if you read enough biographies of like famous people, you're going to find out that Abraham Lincoln didn't think he was good enough. All these famous people, these people that have achieved great things, they didn't think they were good enough, and it turns out they were. And so
they were, yes.
Yeah. And so really, folks, why not you? And then of course, just start saying, "Damn, I'm pretty."
Of course, yes. Good advice.
Thank
you. Being as this is Soulfire Wisdom, yes, whatever you're passionate about, that's what you need to pursue, and that's what you'll be enough at.
Yeah.
So I have a little quote to carry with you through your week, and that's, I'd like to be remembered as someone who used their ability as a novelist or as a dramatist to say the things he felt needed to be said about the society while being as entertaining as possible. Because if you don't entertain, nobody's listening. And that was said by Bud Schulberg. And I thought of that quote because of Jim's, his desire to entertain people.
Thanks. Awesome.
So we have another great show planned for next week, and that is my guest will be the show is about yoga and meditation, and it's finding balance with yoga and meditation. And my guest is Cocelino. I forgot her first name. That's where but she's the daughter of a really good friend that I met at a speaking event at Harvard, Ann Logue, and kept telling me about her beautiful daughter who does, she's an instructor in yoga and meditation, and she does retreats. So she's going to be my guest next week, and she'll tell us all how to, find more balance in our lives. So be sure to tune in. Thank you, Jim, for being here today and telling us about your story.
Thank you, Kate. It was a pleasure being on. It was nice to get a chance to chat with you and find out a little bit more about you.
Great. So as I said, we're kind of behind. So I'm just going to say bye for now, and join us next week, 3 p.m. on Tuesday. And hopefully we'll be able to be both audio and video next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Soul Fire Wisdom with Kate Olson. We hope you enjoyed the show. If we made you laugh, brightened your day, or sparked a new thought, we have succeeded in our mission. Join us next time when we'll share more secrets and truths and all the magic of transformation that is the journey to Soul Fire Wisdom. Always remember, be fierce in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire.